I love doing these coming soon videos every couple months for a few different reasons. One, for people that already live here, you can kind of see what's going on, what's coming, which is kind of exciting if you're here, but also if you're thinking of moving here, and you could just gives you a glimpse into kind of what's going on, why the area is kind of growing, and why I think it kind of flies still under the radar compared to some of the more bigger, well-known areas of North Carolina. Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and High Point, the entire Triad has some really exciting things going on. I want to talk about some more of those today. And I hope that helps also tie into when I do the market updates. You can kind of see why, our pricing is holding firm and things like that. And I hope this gives some light, besides those numbers, that this gives some light into why that's going on. I'm Jeff Valentino. I love helping people buy and sell real estate. If that's you, my contact information is below. But today we're going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to go over just kind of some big picture stuff. We'll talk about jobs, business, and the economy. Of course, I got to talk a little bit about food. And then last, we're going to end up on some housing news, some exciting things that's going on in Winston-Salem and Greensboro as far as that goes. So how I wanted to frame this up, the big picture item I wanted to talk about was Ted Abernathy, who is a managing partner of Economic Leadership, which is a consultant firm based on the coast of North Carolina, but he helps workforce development in over a dozen different states, mostly in the Southeast. So he's really dialed into what's going on economically out here, but also throughout the entire region and all the Southeastern United States. He said a few really interesting things about Winston-Salem and Greensboro, as well as the entire state of North Carolina, but he did focus his talk this time on the Triad. One of the key things he said is, while he thinks, the next few years are going to be good overall, he thinks they're going to be, his word was great for the entire Triad region of North Carolina with some of the exciting things that they have going on. Obviously, he talked about Boom Supersonic, Toyota, and big companies like that bringing a lot of manufacturing and more high-paying jobs here, and as well as their just positive impact on the region overall as far as attracting other businesses. He also mentioned that North Carolina is number 8 in the country as far as job growth since the pandemic. So again, a lot of exciting things happening in the state, but he singled out the Triad region in general as well. But everything in the talk wasn't, sunshine and roses. There are some things that he was cautious about as well. Obviously, the geopolitical landscape of what's going on throughout the world right now is a little questionable. And he also mentioned interest rates, rising inflation, and really feels if we're able to get these things under control, the next few years will really be great for the Triad. So that's kind of the overall big picture. He really is really bullish overall on the entire Triad region of North Carolina. But I want to talk about now some of the jobs, business, and economic stuff. There's been some exciting news that's developed over the last couple of weeks. The first one is German ventilation manufacturer Ziel Abeg. They have moved from Greensboro to Winston-Salem, so they're moving out of one city in the Triad to the other, but they're doubling the size of their facility to over 500,000 square feet. They've experienced a lot of business growth, and they anticipate that to continue with the other things that are going on that we've previously mentioned. They are adding 200 new jobs. They're investing over $100 million in their new facility. It looks like it's going to be something really positive for Winston-Salem. But, like we've talked about before, people in Greensboro that work there will still keep their job. They'll just commute, that's pretty common if you're in the Triad of people to commute from one place to the other as well. Those jobs will have an average salary of about $60,000 a year, and they'll be mainly manufacturing jobs. Now, on the Greensboro side, we have Summit Aviation. They're an aircraft parts manufacturer. They're moving from Kernersville to a bigger facility in Greensboro. They're again expanding that facility. They're looking to double the jobs that they have there as well. And the key thing about this is, what I think is this is really going to point to, and I've mentioned it before, but with Boom Supersonic coming to Greensboro, other small, medium, and not quite as large companies will be moving back to or expanding in Greensboro. This is a perfect example of that. They're going to add a bunch of high-paying jobs here, a newer facility, and I really think this is a sign of things to come in this area, and it just points to tremendous overall growth for the aviation and aerospace sector in Greensboro and the entire Triad region for that matter. When you couple that with the Carolina core, you can kind of see over the next few years, it's pretty exciting to see what's going on in Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and High Point. And then back to Winston-Salem now. Jennifer Byrne, who is the CEO of a company called Javara, has again stated her commitment to keep the company headquartered in Winston-Salem. This is a big deal for a couple different reasons. First, Javara, who is a medical research corporation who partners with care systems to make clinical research a treatment option. They've helped millions of patients in over 5,000 doctors and hospitals. They're a rapidly growing company in Winston-Salem, but also they're expanding all over the country, but headquartered in Winston-Salem. They're right in the innovation quarter, and the key why this is important that they're staying in Winston-Salem. There have been previous companies like Krispy Kreme and Wells Fargo, for instance. They started in Winston-Salem, and when they got too big, they moved out of the city. It's important for a company like Javara to state that they're planning on staying and growing in Winston-Salem. It does a couple different things. It really cements the innovation quarters place as a place for growth, not only in the tech startups, but also in the medical field as well. It really helps cement that. But also what it does, it brings more jobs and more talent. Right now, just in 2022, Javara hired over 100 people. They're planning on hiring at least 200 more over the next year or two as well. They'll be all based right here in Winston-Salem. They'll be good, high-paying jobs. So that's really exciting for the area in general. That should attract other talent, and again, other small and medium-sized companies as Javara grows, to bring them to Winston-Salem, to the innovation quarter, and really help cement what they have going on there, which is really exciting as well. In an effort to be the hospital with the longest and kind of convoluted name, Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist broke ground on their $450 million expansion just a few weeks ago. This first part is the biggest part of what is going to be a multi-billion, actually almost $3.5 billion that they're going to spend in Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and High Point, well, throughout the Triad over the next few years, but this is the biggest chunk of that. It's a new critical care tower that they've built. If you've been driving around, you're kind of seeing the construction started on that a few weeks ago, but it's important for a few different reasons as well. The CEO, Eugene Woods, specifically called out how not only is, this big multi-billion dollar investment going to be good for the Triad region in general, it's going to bring top-of-the-line technology and facilities to the region. That will be good for patients as well, but it will also attract young, rising medical talent from other parts of the country to the Triad. That is good for the workforce, that's good for the local economies, and that should be just a win-win for everyone involved. I'm looking forward to see how that development progresses over the next few years. All right, on the food and restaurant front, there was a really good vegan restaurant, and I'm not a vegan, but there was a good vegan restaurant in Winston-Salem called Dom's. They had some really bad struggles during the pandemic, closed down. They've reopened, pretty exciting. Their food is really good. Again, I'm not a vegan, but the food there is just really good, so I'm excited to have them back. And also there was a new takeout spot called C3 Jamaican Corner Cuisine. If I haven't been there, but if it's the lines out there or any judge, the jerk chicken must be really good because the people are lined up and this place has been really hopping. I'm really looking forward to trying that. Anytime we can get some really good, authentic ethnic food in Winston-Salem, I think it's a huge win. So I'm excited to get some really good Jamaican food really soon. And in Greensboro, the owner of one of my favorite restaurants in the entire Triad, Machete, announced that they're going to be opening up a ramen and sake shop with some interesting takes on cocktails, appetizers, and things like that. That's going to be called Yokai. That should be opening in 2023, just a few blocks away from Machete. And if their level of execution is anything like what they do at Machete, which is, really good food, great service, that should be a really good restaurant as well. I'm looking forward to trying Yokai. Onto housing in Winston-Salem and Greensboro. If you've seen any of the market updates, you kind of understand where the market is, but I want to just mention two pieces of information that are going on right now that I think will help, again, tie into some of the bigger picture as well here. We know that new construction has struggled and really lagged behind. Not only in, because of the pandemic, it never was a huge part of the market here, like say Orlando, Florida or something like that, or other parts of North Carolina even. New construction here is about 10 to 15% of the sales normally, and some of those other really bustling markets, it could be like 25 or 30% where there's a lot of new development going on. There are pluses and minuses to that, but what I wanted to tell you about is a couple different developments that are going on. First thing, in Winston-Salem and in Louisville, we have two luxury developments that are going up for single family homes. They're going to start in early 2023. One of them is going to be, like I said, in Louisville. One's going to be right here in Winston-Salem. And the key is they're going to be custom homes on large lots. They're going to be in the $800,000 plus price point, which is a luxury price point here, right? That's our average. If our average is in the 300s, this is, more than twice that, so it's considered a luxury price point. And this points to, even with the economy slowing and things going on, with these developers starting these big projects in 2023, there has to be some demand for it, right? And our overall sales numbers kind of bear that out as well. So I think, that's an overall good sign for the area, because developers would not be sinking millions of dollars into these type of projects if they weren't really confident that they're going to sell enough $800,000 plus homes in the next year or two to make that worthwhile. So just wanted to point that out. But on the other side of that coin, we know that there has been an affordability problem in the entire Triad region as well, right? Well, there was a nonprofit in Greensboro that's just raised $27 million, and they want this to all go towards helping find more affordable houses for people of the normal workforce. They're targeting people that make about 30 to 60% of the average salary for the Greensboro area. And they want to incentivize developers with lower rates and things like that so they can charge lower rents for the workforce in Greensboro. They've targeted 5 neighborhoods where they want to have these developments. And with all the jobs coming to the area, some, are more of those entry-level jobs, some high-paying jobs, but this is going to be really targeted to helping entry-level workers find affordable housing, which I think is great. There's a definite need for it, especially, for people just coming to the area or people just starting out or starting over. Affordable housing is a huge issue. So I'm really happy to see that they've raised this money. And these construction projects will develop over the next couple years as some of these companies really go into big hiring. If you need help buying or selling real estate anywhere in Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, or the entire Triad, I'd love to be a resource for you. My contact information is below, or you can email me directly at jeff@govalentino.com. Thanks.